Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into motorcycle safety.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is. There's this article called Avoid Accidents Expert Motorcycle Safety Advice for Every Rider by K.R. Andre.
Yeah.
It just came out December 11th, 2024. And, we always talk about how much we love riding and freedom of the open road.
Hmm.
But this article really made me think about some of my own safety habits and how maybe I could
Yeah.
step it up a notch.
I think we can all use a little refresher sometimes,
Right.
right? Even for the most experienced riders,
Mm.
it's easy to fall into a routine
Right.
and maybe miss some of those finer points.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what about this article stood out to you the most? What really caught your eye?
What surprised me was how much emphasis they put on gear.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we all know helmets are crucial,
Right.
but this article goes beyond that.
Yeah.
They really stress the importance of a full ensemble, like head-to-toe protection.
Yeah. I've always thought I was pretty good about wearing a helmet and gloves, but Andrew really dives into the details of all the gear, like the different materials, abrasion-resistant fabrics, reinforced stitching.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about padding. It's about preventing serious injuries in a slide.
It's like your first line of defense.
Exactly.
And it's easy to think, oh, it's just a scratch on my jacket.
Right.
But even minor damage can really compromise the protective integrity of your gear.
Okay, that makes sense.
Think of like your phone. You wouldn't trust a cracked screen to protect your phone, right?
Haha, good point.
Same goes for your riding gear.
So it's not just about looking cool.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's about being prepared for the unexpected.
And feeling confident knowing that you're protected.
Exactly. And that confidence can actually enhance your riding experience. When you know you're well protected, you can focus more on the ride itself
Right.
rather than worrying about every little bump or scrape.
It takes away that mental distraction.
Absolutely.
Okay, so gear is definitely top of mind,
Mm-hmm.
but the article also goes deep into defensive riding techniques.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
And I have to admit, sometimes I get a little complacent, just going through the motions.
I think we all do sometimes.
But this article really hammered home the importance of riding like you're invisible.
Like no one can see you.
Exactly. It's all about anticipating hazards that other drivers might miss.
It's like you have to be extra vigilant.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just checking your blind spots.
Oh, for sure.
Andrew talks about positioning yourself in the lane for maximum visibility.
Right. You're not just avoiding danger zones.
Right.
You're actively making yourself seen.
Like thinking several steps ahead of the other drivers.
Absolutely. It's
If
like
you-
playing chess on the road.
Wow, I like that analogy. It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the gear, we've got the defensive mindset.
Hmm.
What else did Andrew cover that really stuck with you?
Honestly, the section on maintenance was a bit of a wake-up call for me.
Really?
I'll admit I'm more of a ride it till it breaks kind of guy.
Yeah, I get that.
But Andrew's detailed maintenance checklist made me realize I might be neglecting some crucial things.
Interesting. So what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, it goes beyond just tire pressure.
Right.
They talk about checking brake fluid chain tension, the condition of your cables.
Oh, wow.
All those little things, they can easily be overlooked until something goes wrong.
Yeah, you don't want to be caught off guard.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding a breakdown on the side of the road.
Right.
A malfunctioning part can turn your bike from a source of enjoyment into a serious hazard.
Yeah, I actually had a friend who had his throttle cable snap mid-ride once.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, he was able to coast to a stop, but it could have been really bad.
Yeah, that's a good reminder.
It definitely made me rethink my own approach to maintenance.
I think we've all had those close calls that make us reevaluate our habits.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got gear defensive riding and regular maintenance,
Those are the essentials.
all super important for staying safe on the road. But Andre also dives into another factor that I found really interesting:
Oh, what's that?
weather.
Ah, yes. Weather can be a big one.
It's not just about rain or snow either.
Right.
The article has some really good tips on handling those less obvious weather conditions.
Like strong winds
Oh, yeah, wind can be tricky.
or the dangers of riding on painted lines in the rain.
Those can be like ice.
Right. It's amazing how something so simple can become such a hazard.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook those little things.
So what about wind? Any tips on how to handle those strong gusts?
Well, the article suggests leaning slightly into the wind to counteract its force
Okay.
and maintaining a firm grip on the handlebars.
Makes sense.
It's all about making those small adjustments to your body position
right.
and staying relaxed. but if the wind gets too strong, it's always best to pull over and wait it out.
Yeah, safety first. I've definitely had a few scary moments with wind gusts before, especially on bridges.
Oh, yeah.
Bridges can be brutal.
It's like an invisible force just pushing you around.
Yeah, it really is.
Mhm.
And just like with any challenging condition,
Mm-hmm.
the key is to be aware. Adjust your riding accordingly, and never hesitate to pull over if you feel unsafe.
Right. You're in control.
It's kind of interesting how Andrew shifts gears a bit.
Yeah.
It's not just about the bike or the gear anymore.
Right.
It's about the rider.
Yeah, the human element.
Exactly.
Mm.
And one of the things they highlight is the importance of the rider's physical and mental state.
Makes sense. I mean, we're the ones in control, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that control can be affected by things like hydration, nutrition,
Even rest.
things that can be easy to overlook.
Yeah.
I've definitely been guilty of grabbing a coffee and hitting the road without a proper meal.
Especially for a quick ride.
Yeah,
Oh.
but this article really emphasizes how even mild dehydration can impact our reaction time and decision-making.
Just like fatigue.
Right. It's all connected.
And Andrew talks about the cumulative effect.
Interesting.
Like a little bit of fatigue combined with a slight dip in hydration can actually create a much riskier situation.
Yeah, it all adds up than you might realize.
So it's not just about avoiding those extreme scenarios of falling asleep at the wheel.
Right.
It's about being at your sharpest when you need it most.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about it. Would you rather be riding at 100%
Mm-hmm.
or 80% of your capacity when you need to make a split-second decision?
Yeah, no brainer, 100% every time.
Exactly. And speaking of things that can affect our sharpness,
Oh, yeah.
what about distractions?
Ugh, distractions. They're everywhere these days.
Right?
And it's so easy to let them creep into our writing.
Did Andrew have any specific examples?
Yeah, they talk about the obvious ones like cell phones.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
But they also mention things like fiddling with your GPS, adjusting your helmet,
Yeah.
or even just getting lost in thought.
It's easy to zone out when you're on a long ride.
It's true. But it's all about recognizing that anything that takes our focus away from the road is a potential hazard.
So true.
Yeah.
And the consequences on a motorcycle are much more serious
Right.
than in a car.
You don't have that same level of protection.
Exactly. Yeah. And it only takes a second of inattention to lose control.
The article has some good tips on how to manage those distractions.
Oh, like what?
Like putting your phone on silent. Or using a hands-free device if you absolutely have to take a call.
Yeah, those are good ones.
It's about making a conscious effort to minimize those distractions and stay present.
I've actually started putting my phone in my saddlebag before I even start the bike.
Well, that's a good idea.
It's like a ritual that helps me get in the right mindset for riding.
It's about creating that separation
Mm-hmm.
between your everyday life and the focused attention that riding demands.
Exactly. It's about respecting the ride.
I like that. Okay, so we've got hydration, nutrition, rest, distractions, all important factors.
Definitely.
But there's one more section I want to touch on that I think is crucial for any rider.
Oh, what's that?
Emergency maneuvers.
Oh, yeah. Those are important.
We're talking about things like quick stops, swerving low-speed control.
I have to admit, I don't practice those as often as I should.
I hear ya. I've been riding for years, and I've never really practiced them specifically.
But the article really emphasizes how important it is to have those skills ingrained.
It's not enough to just know about them in theory. You
Right.
need to be able to execute them confidently in a real-world situation.
Exactly. And it's like anything else. The more you practice, the more instinctive it becomes.
Do they have any suggestions for how to practice?
Yeah, they suggest finding a safe, empty parking lot
Okay.
to work on those skills. Like just spending an hour or two can make a big difference.
You don't need a fancy track or anything.
No, not at all. And they also mention advanced riding courses.
Oh, yeah. I've heard those are great.
They can provide a more structured environment to practice those maneuvers.
Under the guidance of professionals.
Exact. I took one a few years ago, and it was a real eye-opener.
So you're basically practicing for those oh crap moments.
Exactly. But in a safe and controlled environment.
That makes sense. I'm adding that to my to-do list.
It's definitely worth it.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of being prepared physically and mentally and having those emergency skills in your back pocket.
So what's next?
Well, Andrea also dedicates a whole section to common rider errors.
Oh, yeah, we all make mistakes.
Exactly. And it's not just aimed at beginners either.
Good point. We could all get complacent sometimes.
It's a good reminder for riders of all skill levels.
So what kind of errors are we talking about?
Well, one that really stood out to me was target fixation.
Target fixation.
Yeah, it's where you focus on the obstacle you're trying to avoid
Okay.
instead of where you want to go.
Oh, I've definitely done that before.
It's almost counterintuitive.
It is.
But if you stare at that pothole, you're more likely to ride right into it.
It's so true.
The article emphasizes looking where you want to go, not where you don't want to go.
It's all about mindset.
It really is. Another error they mention is improper lane changes.
Oh, yeah, those can be tricky.
I know I've been guilty of that, especially when I'm in a hurry.
It's easy to get lazy about checking your mirrors.
Right, and your blind spots.
And we can't assume that other drivers have seen us.
We have to be vigilant.
Always.
And then there's overconfidence.
Ah, yes. The feeling of invincibility.
It can be tempting to push your limits when everything's going smoothly.
I've been there.
But it's important to remember that there are always factors beyond our control.
And a moment of overconfidence can have serious consequences.
Absolutely. Andrew offers a really good antidote to overconfidence.
What's that?
Humility.
Humility.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that we're not invincible,
Right.
that we're human and prone to errors,
I like that.
and that we need to ride with respect for the road and for our own limitations.
So it's about finding that balance
Mm-hmm.
between confidence and caution.
Exactly. Enjoying the thrill of the ride, but staying mindful of the risks.
That's the sweet spot.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Gear defensive riding, maintenance emergency maneuvers, common errors.
It's a lot to think about.
It is,
Yeah.
but I think it's all incredibly important for any rider who wants to stay safe out there.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And you know what else I found really interesting about this article?
What's that?
It's not just about the individual rider.
Oh, yeah.
It also emphasizes the importance of community.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's easy to think of riding as a solitary activity,
Right?
but the truth is we're part of a larger community of riders.
Who share a passion for the open road.
Exactly. And a commitment to safety.
Yeah, and that community can be such a great resource, you know?
Totally. For knowledge support, even just camaraderie.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the article mentions a few ways to get involved, like joining a local riding club, attending motorcycle events, or even just striking up conversations with other riders at a rest stop.
Yeah, you never know what you might learn from another rider's experience.
Right. Like, I remember once I was talking to a guy at a gas station, and he gave me this awesome tip about adjusting tire pressure for different road conditions.
Really?
Yeah, something I had never even thought about before.
See, that's what I love about the riding community.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this constant exchange of knowledge and experience.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just the technical stuff, too.
Oh, for sure. Having a network of support can be so valuable.
Yeah.
Especially in case of an accident or a breakdown.
Yeah, knowing you're not alone out there can make a huge difference.
It really can.
Yeah.
And, you know, the article also touches on some interesting psychological aspects of riding.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, they talk about risk perception and how it can be influenced by our experience, our personality, even our mood.
That's a good point. We all perceive risk differently.
Exactly. And understanding that can make us more aware of our own biases and limitations.
So, like, if I'm riding with a friend who's a bit more cautious than me,
Hmm.
I can be more understanding of their hesitation in certain situations.
Right. It's about respecting each other's comfort levels.
Yeah, and maybe even adjusting my own riding accordingly.
Exactly. Which leads into another important concept, situational awareness.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's about being constantly aware of our surroundings.
Not just what's directly in front of you.
Right. It's the whole picture. 360-degree awareness.
Like having eyes in the back of your head.
Uh-huh. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's not just about seeing either.
Oh, yeah.
It's about hearing, feeling, anticipating,
Wow.
being attuned to those subtle cues that can alert us to potential hazards.
So it's like a heightened sense of awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the article emphasizes that it's not just about those external factors.
Right.
It's also about our internal state.
You mean like being aware of our own fatigue or distractions?
Exactly. If we're not feeling our best, if we're tired, stressed, distracted.
It can affect our riding.
Absolutely. It can
Yeah.
impair our judgment and reaction time.
And make us more prone to mistakes.
So it's crucial to be self-aware.
And honest with ourselves about our limitations.
Exactly. Now, I know we touched on this earlier, but I think it's worth emphasizing again.
What's that?
The psychology of riding. It's a fascinating aspect that Andrew really dives into.
Yeah, they talk about how our minds work
Yeah.
and how that can affect our decisions and behavior on the road.
Like overconfidence, for example.
Right. It's not just about being arrogant or reckless.
No. It's more subtle than that.
It's about that feeling of invincibility that can creep in when everything's going smoothly.
Like you're in the zone, nothing can touch you.
Exactly. And that can lead us to take unnecessary risks.
Or underestimate the potential consequences of our actions.
Andrew offers some good advice on how to combat this.
Like what?
Reminding ourselves of the inherent risks involved in writing,
Okay.
practicing humility, and always striving to improve our skills.
I love that humility is so important for any writer.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we're not infallible, that we're human and prone to errors.
And that we should never take our safety for granted.
Well said. And then there's fatigue.
Ah, yes, the silent killer.
We've talked about it, but it's worth repeating.
It's crucial to recognize the signs.
Right, like decreased concentration, impaired judgment, irritability.
Even just feeling a little drowsy.
Exactly. And it's okay to take a break,
Yeah.
pull over for a nap.
Or even call it a day.
Yeah, if you're not feeling up to it, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's distractions.
Oh, yeah, those are everywhere.
It's like a constant battle to stay focused.
Andrew really emphasizes minimizing those distractions.
And being fully present in the moment when we're writing.
It's about savoring the experience.
Exactly. It's not just about getting from point A to point B.
It's about enjoying the journey.
The freedom, the thrill of the open road.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive.
It has. We've covered so much ground.
From gear and maintenance to the psychology of writing.
And everything in between.
I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
Hopefully they'll walk away with some valuable tips and insights.
That will help them stay safe out there on the road.
After all, that's what it's all about.
So remember, folks, safety is an ongoing pursuit.
It's a journey, not a destination.
There's always something new to learn, a new skill to master.
A new challenge to overcome.
So keep learning, keep practicing, and keep the rubber side down.
Ride safe, everyone.